Hey guys, Wheatywaffle here today, and we are back in City Skylines 2 in our city of Second City. And if you notice, we've got a ton of trash in this uh, dump right here. I mean, look how tall this trash is piling up. This is insane. Both of our dumpsters look this way, and I think we're starting to run into a potential trash issue. So today, the things we're going to focus on are building out an incineration plant and trying to solve both the trash and maybe build up some power in our city. The second thing we're going to do is build out a new train station and do some more development around Denny's Ridge and the Ortega area. And third, we're going to definitely try to build out a new neighborhood, at least maybe a road layout, as we continue to expand the city. But if we look here, this landfill, Fawn Lane landfill, is completely full. And if we come over to this landfill, this is the Birdsong Lane landfill, and this is also completely full. I mean, look how tall this garbage is piling up. And if I also go and check, where's trash? So these small buildings, not a big problem. But if we start looking into our city, some of our high rises and even some of the buildings around our high school, like even our school, if you notice, it's a little bit different color green than the areas around it. So slowly this trash is going to become a problem. So I think the way we start this is figuring out where we want to build our incineration plant. Now the incinerator is $1 million to build with $94,500 a month upkeep. That's before any taxes, fees, or any of the wage costs. It does produce 40 watts of electricity. So I am just curious, how much electricity are we using right now? We're producing 50, but we're using 61 megawatts. So an incinerator alone is not going to be enough power to power the entire city. We will have to keep at least one of our power plants. But what I think we do is, as our city is growing, this land up here, which is relatively flat for the most part, is going to become more valuable. And right now there is a resource, I think, here. Isn't there like ore or something? Yeah. So there's some ore resource here, and you can notice where these buildings are positioned is over top of an ore pocket, and then there's another ore pocket here. And what's happening is, as these buildings are using the resource below, this is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So eventually we'll be redeveloping this entire area. But for now, I think what we could do is, I think the incinerator is quite large. Let's just get a look here. Yeah, if we compare it to some of the blocks in our city, it's like 4 of our city blocks. So it's a pretty decent sized building. I think what we do is we don't try to shove it into the land we already own. I think we need to go ahead and try to purchase some new land. So let's first get a sense of where the wind is blowing. Now, unfortunately for us, actually, let's close out of this little menu here first. Unfortunately for us, in this flatter area of our city, there is not a lot of wind. So whatever pollution is produced is going to move relatively slowly. Now, if we move out this direction, the wind does begin to pick up, and it would be a little bit further out of the city. I could see value to building out a new industrial area a bit further away from everyone. And even if we just get a look here, I mean, the coal plant and our landfill are producing a ton of pollution that is all blowing this direction, meaning that all of this area is now going to be unbuildable for us, which is going to be a problem as we continue to expand. I mean, here's the edge of our grid right now. So let's just see. If we were to look at roads and then turn on our contour lines, we can see this is a hill for the most part. There is a bit of flat land right around here, which may be a bit far out. There's also, this is like relatively flat there. Let's get a sense of how much it would cost to, I guess technically, we don't even need to have access to the highway. We could just buy this piece of land here for $41,000, or we could also grab the 2 pieces that include the highway and upgrade that highway all this length. That would be $120,000. So I'd say let's do this. Let's just purchase this tile here, knowing that we've got to then spend $1 million here in a moment. And let's just try to figure out how we want to build out this incinerator. Now, the only problem we have is that without these 2 other tiles in the middle, we can't really upgrade our highway. You know what? I think we take the risk. If we have to take out a small loan or something, we can, but our money is in the positive right now. We're making a decent amount of money. So I think what we can do is we can use some time here to upgrade this highway, and that'll build us a little extra time so that we can then come back and build our incinerator and spend $1 million. So I think the best way to do this, let's just go ahead and get rid of this road here, bring it as far back as we can go. And then let's just slap down a new highway. Now we've been doing the 2-lane highways as our default. And I believe, yeah, 1 unit apart is what we've been working with. Okay, so let's do this. I mean, can I just grab from here and rebuild that road? I can. So I'm going to turn on the curve tool. Let's bring this at 180 and then just bring it up this direction. It's only going up 5.1%, which is not bad. We'll send it, I think, honestly, straight right here. And we got to get it over to this section here. So we could just keep going straight, but maybe what we do, let's do a complex curve. Maybe what we do is we curve it over this direction. Hold on, where's that line? There we go. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Let's do this. And now we just got to kind of connect all of this up here, which should be pretty simple. We do have a lot of people still leaving, so eventually we are going to have to address our homelessness issue, but I don't know if we're ready to do that just yet. Now, let's also go ahead and fix this unfortunate moment. If we get rid of this, and unfortunately, I think we also have to get rid of that, we can then take a road here. I want to kind of connect it up this direction, just like so. Perfect. And then let's also upgrade at least a segment of this into a 3-lane. I think I'm going to cut this off here. Grab a 3-lane highway, slap that right on there, get rid of this. Beautiful. So now we have a nice lane to slide off into our highway interchange. All right, so now that we've got this land over here, we're at 1.27 million. Perfect. Let's try to figure out the best way to get our incinerator built. I think one way we could do this is just by building the incinerator first. Because it's such a large building, we can build this and then work around it. The road is on this side. And again, if we keep our contour lines on, I mean, it basically fits in this road perfectly. And when we come back to upgrade this highway, we're upgrading mainly on the right side of this highway, so we're not going to have to worry about running into this highway in the future. Let's just put this, $1 million, here we go. Put that right there, spend all of our money. And I don't want to just tie right in this way because I feel like we want to really leverage what we can do here. So how do we want to connect this up? We have another kind of flat area right here that could be a good place for an interchange. Now, I've not unlocked any of the pre-made interchanges, but this might be one of those moments where I do it. It's 4 points. We have 23 to spend. So let's spend all of those. For now, is this even functioning? Total 94,000. If I turn it off, it's only 9,000. Right, let's turn it off until we get it connected up, because at the moment it's just costing us money for no reason. Let's look at our options. We could consider doing just a trumpet interchange, although it's pretty large. There's also a trumpet roundabout interchange. This is much smaller. It's making me reconsider how I built this highway, although this could kind of go like right here. May look strange with the downhill. We'll have to maybe consider that. This is way too large. We have a partial clover leaf, which is also pretty large. I'm not really a fan of that. This, I think this is the world's ugliest interchange. Then there's a teardrop roundabout interchange. There's also the single point interchange. Yeah, most of these are quite big. I don't think this... Oh my God. That's 4 tiles. That's insane. Okay. I think most of these are going to be too large, so we are going to have to build our own interchange here. Let's start by building out a road that will then eventually go over top of this. So let's do this. Let's just set this at 10. Let's get a straight road that goes all the way across. We'll start back here maybe and get a decent amount of road here. This is going up by negative 0.2%, not a problem. Then we're going to take this guy and we're going to send it right back on down. Let's send it down. I'm fine with like a little bit of grade here. I mean, it's a little hilly area. Mainly cars are using this, so I'm not that pressed. We will send a road straight along the front here. So now that's connected up to our road network, which is great. Let's get another avenue. Can you just go straight in? Yeah, I don't see why not. This also gives us the opportunity to take this road and send it back down this direction. And we might even just place a little bit of this here for the time being. We won't need to go any further than this, but we can at least start setting up what is going to be over in this section. Now, I think for the moment, I mean, we may have to come back and make some major upgrades to this, but I think at the moment we could get away with a pretty simple, like small, I guess, diamond interchange, maybe what this would be. Just like, I mean, I'm talking real simple. All right, so now we have a way off. This is, wow, what an interesting collection of roads. I think we're going to leave it. I mean, it might be interesting to work with. We don't have a way for Spruce Highway to get off, so I think that's just going to join into this intersection for now. And again, all this could change. We'll figure out exactly what we want to do in a moment, but for now, this will work. It's going to get us connected up, which is the goal. That will do just fine. It's simple. It's effective. I like that we've separated out this entrance from this entrance. Also gives us a place to do a little bit more building here. So we've now got our incinerator connected to some power. We do need to connect. If I turn it back on, we just need to connect up this power behind it. Do I have enough space? Ooh. Well, you know what? We can anarchy this because I'm not buying another tile for a power line. Now, do we want to consider building out a new... Oh, look, we're already starting to get trash piling up. Okay, so we've got this side here put together, and then we got to do this other side as well. Now, the game just crashed, so I've already built this, and I got to rebuild it, and I can't recall if I've already said this or not. So, I was looking at... Some of you have left comments about how to fix this shadow issue, and I'm struggling, guys. So here's what I'm looking at. In my graphics settings... If I come down here, I've disabled things like depth of field and motion blur because I can't stand them. But texture quality settings doesn't seem to change anything. The terrain quality settings doesn't seem to change anything. And the shadow quality doesn't seem to change anything. Am I missing here? Let's just do it this way. We'll scroll from the top. And also, if you see this and you're like, why is your settings that way? Please let me know. But I'm looking through all of this and I can't fix that shadow to save my life. You can ignore these alerts. These key bindings have already been fixed, whatever. But if you have any idea of how to actually fix this after now that you've seen my settings, let me know because I'm about to give up on it. All right. So I already had built out another connection here, but I just got to redo that. Who knows? The game might keep crashing. It just seems to like really hate me today, which is fine. Let's go ahead and get a curved road here. We're going to connect it straight on up and in. Honestly, I don't think it needs to be even that long. We could send it from here, go to here, and then curve and go up. Just a small, simple curve. Nothing crazy. Do the same thing here, but instead we're going to bring it down to about here. Then we're going to... Let's just try to upgrade a segment of this. Honestly, that's perfect right there. It might be a little bit tight, but... Oh, wait. Oh, even better. There we go. Let's do it like this, and then we can connect from here into there. That'd be perfect. Okay, so now we've got a way in, a way out, both sides. Nobody can complain. That is a really long slip lane for no reason. Let's do this. create a new segment here, upgrade this, remove this. Perfect. Okay, so now we have our new highway interchange. We've got our incinerator here. Now, I do want to consider putting, I guess, is there any benefit to having the transformer station in this part of the city? Or does it just make sense to put the transformer station near the power plant that is using it? I guess for now, we could put the transformer right here. We could send out our power line. I think we're just going to send it kind of right along the highway here. So now that's powered up. It could be valuable for us to connect these roads together just for the sake of having the power fed through the street. Let's see. If we were to bring this avenue, honestly, this is going to all be probably an industrial side eventually, now that we're building out this infrastructure. So I think we just make this an avenue here. Let's see if we can thread this in between these guys. We can. Perfect. And then we're going to go ahead and connect. Please don't crash again, game. Oh my gosh. It's already crashed 3 times, and I've been recording for less than 20 minutes. So we're off to a great start. I don't understand what's going on with this, or why that's having some challenges. Turn all this off except for these two. Bring this to here. Curve it up and in. What is this problem? Water pipe not connected. Not connected to what? That's just a mess over there. Oh, maybe my external water pipe when I rebuilt it. I have no clue. All right, we're already starting to see some trash issues and garbage piling up, so we are going to need to get this incinerator online soon here. I don't know if I really love this road, but for now, it's going to do. That way we just know this can function and be powered on. So let's just quickly, before we turn this on, let's check out both our garbage, which processing 181 tons, but we are making 1,174 tons a month. Great. And then power, we have 50 production, but we're consuming 60. All right, let's turn this guy on. It can process up to 3,000 tons a month, I guess. We're still not yet producing power, but that's going to take time because these cars have to leave here, collect the trash, and then bring it back in. One thing we could consider doing is turning off both of these. Let's go ahead and empty this, and let's go ahead and empty this. Let's clear out all this trash. Oop, that trash is just going to be fuel for our incinerator to continue producing power. And now if we check our garbage management, we are able to process 3,092 tons a month, and we're only producing 1,175 tons a month. So once our landfills empty out, I think we can go ahead and delete them. In the meantime, I also wouldn't mind looking into potentially building the mail sorting center over here. If we look, we have the small post office, an EE post office. Oh, we haven't even unlocked this yet. Post sorting facility. All right, you know what? Let's not even worry about it. We haven't unlocked it. All right, incinerator built. I do think we could maybe get away with a little parking up here. Let's just let our money rise a little bit. Maybe we do a medium parking lot over in this place. Just like so. Don't hate it. We could even come around the back and just do a little alleyway right along the back and the side. Connect those two in. Then this area could probably benefit from having another bit of commercial, maybe right here. Or excuse me, industrial right there. These guys are all filtering out, which is great. I would maybe consider trying to get a road all the way around. Until we own that tile, though, it's going to be tight with the highway. All right. I don't think there needs to be a light or really crossings here. This is more just another slip lane, another option for people. Go ahead and slide right on through there. And even here, I don't think there's a need for a light at all. Just keep it moving. Now, I wonder... Okay, you know what? Let's try something real fast. If we were to move this over, The entrance here that they're coming from is really just one tile over. So if I were to bring a road kind of like straight along like this, like an exit road for them, I don't know why it's considered invalid. It's just a straight line. There we go. Bring it over this way. And then we could even consider curving this down here. Will they use that as an exit? I mean, I feel like all the trucks are gone now. Yeah, so at the moment, we're not going to see anybody use this. But they might then prefer to take that route as the exit. And we can move the parking into this area here, facing this direction. And honestly, I wouldn't mind just coming in and messing with this surface a little bit. Just fill this whole area with this pavement. I think that just looks a little bit nicer. We could even consider coming over here and doing some more work later on, but for now, this will do. I am going to... Honestly, I think I'm fine with this having zoning on both sides. So let's look at this guy here. This is our last section there. Go like this. We can grab a little pathway just because why not? Perfect. Eventually we'll decorate all this and whatnot, but for now, this will do. Let's go ahead and just let this start running. We'll come back to it in a minute. In the meantime, I want to continue building out Denny Ridge and Ortega, as well as building in a new train station. But I think the best thing we could do to start, because we're seeing tons of issues in this city, is maybe to look into some kind of hospital or an additional medical clinic. The healthcare availability, we have 260 sick patients or sick citizens, but we can only support 225 of them. So I do think if we looked into potentially finding a hospital, that would be valuable. But again, we're getting into some of these expensive things where we really can't afford it. Can we adjust our services for our healthcare? Yeah, they're not even at 100% yet. Let's bring those up to 100. Let's also make roads back to 100. Electricity is well and high enough. Like, that is totally fine. We could even consider reducing this to get rid of the negative impact it was having on our citizens. Similarly here, just reduce that to get rid of that -1. Garbage, we could bump that up to 100. I think we're making enough money at the moment that it's okay. And surprisingly, we're making money from our education, which is just mind-blowing to me. Budget-wise, we're still over $1 million, so that's looking pretty good. Let's... I don't think we can afford a hospital yet. We do have a clinic right here, but I don't think I would mind having just an extra clinic in the city. I was going to say we could build it over here, but if we look, we've got one clinic here. We have a small clinic, a full clinic, a full clinic. We really need another one over in this area. So why don't we try to figure out how to sneak that in? This area is starting to have a bit more development. We have a high school here, as well as some general zoning around this area. But maybe some of these smaller houses, we take over one of them. We have a small medical clinic, which has a patient capacity of 100 for 60,000. The modern medical clinic has a patient capacity of 90. It's only costs 50,000. Also has 5 ambulances, which is important. The EE Medical Clinic, I have not even seen this building yet. It costs 60,000 and has 300 patient capacity plus 9 ambulances. The medical clinic and the EE Medical Clinic cost the same, yet this one has 300 patient capacity. I think we build this. I also just like the height of this building. I almost think we go ahead, just keep our contour lines on whenever we do anything with roads. I think we put it right here. It's going to ruin a building or two, not a problem. But then we take over some of these homes to build this new medical clinic right along this side street, Underhill Street. Fantastic. Where are we limiting the previous clinics? Like, this medical clinic does not have neighborhoods. Let's do this. Let's give these neighborhoods. And the reason being is if we limit these to some neighborhoods, we can begin to measure their effectiveness. So if we place these here, let's go back to medical clinics. There's another one right here. This one I can tell you right now is going to be struggling. This is a huge area for this to take responsibility for. We're going to share Melonville and Wilmar with both of these clinics. I am curious. The number of patients here far exceeds what we can do. Ambulance depot or an extension wing. The problem is the extension wing, it only adds an additional 25 patients. And it's so low density, I think it's not going to work. What if we considered just upgrading it? We're going to lose a building or two. I just think we place it right over top. I do. I think we say goodbye to this medical clinic only because the city went in and said, we need to upgrade this clinic. It needs to be larger. We're going to lose a bit of zoning, to be expected. And in fact, I don't even think we let zoning go back there. I think we place a road right along here connecting these two neighborhoods. It means a ton of people have now been made homeless. So to kind of correct that, I think we need to consider upgrading some of our houses. High Lane here. All right, the sound of the rain just stopped. Oh, it turned to snow. Before we upgrade the houses, which is something I do want to do, I do want to maybe address one problem we have, which is right here along this section of Cooper Highway. This comes into this split lane here. You've got one that kind of heads into the central roundabout of the city, and then you have one that heads over this direction onto Garland Street. Before we upgrade those buildings and let them build in and then they have to be deleted, I think we need to consider upgrading Garland Street. So we have two options. Option one is we upgrade Garland Street so that it is a asymmetrical road with 2 lanes. We're just going to do that right now to see what that looks like. This gives us decent throughfare, at least for those coming in. And honestly, at the moment, that might be what we do. I was considering doing an avenue, but now that we're looking at this, I don't even know if we need an avenue. There's not a ton of people leaving this direction, so I don't think an avenue is going to help us in any way. We are going to make this 2 lanes. That way you have 2 options. Might help fill people out. They can then continue forward. And honestly, make this whole thing 2 lanes. This is an exit. So you can just use both of these. It'll get people out of this section of road much faster. Let's continue upgrading this before we do any more upzoning. Or really any upzoning to begin with. I think we just get rid of parking at least up to here. And then after this road, I think most of that traffic is dissipated. To help with some of this demand, we do need to do some upgrading. We're going to take the NA medium density housing and we're going to go through and make some changes. This area here is all low, what is this? This is row homes. Replace all those. I want to also replace maybe all of these as well. So those 2 blocks are going to be upzoned so that they can then support some additional homes. I also then think it might be valuable to switch out, like if I click on this building, for example, it can hold 22 residents, but this building here can hold 64. So I do think having some high density, low income housing is going to be useful. We have or low rent housing. We have low rent housing here and EE low rent, which I've not yet used, but then we just break into regular high density. So let's use this low rent housing. Maybe right here. This entire row, it's going to just end up looking like this, which I guess isn't bad. You know, here we do this, place that here. And then what we do is we place a set here and then we just do this. We delete all of this before anything can zone in. Although that didn't seem to work. There we go. We just get rid of both. Give me 3 nice large houses. This whole block is going to be all the same building, which I'm actually thinking we might want to consider changing this into higher density housing soon. But for now, we'll go ahead and upgrade that section as well. Do we still have some single families down here? We do. I think we go ahead and say, it's time for you guys to get out of here. All this is single family, so all of that can be upgraded. That's already been upgraded. This area here around this roundabout, I'm tempted to leave it alone, only because the roundabout's a little strange. But this area here, we could come over and go like this. All along this road, we could also have some housing. Let it be all the way back. I'm not worried about it. All of this has already been upgraded. Great. Okay. I also think we'll come over here and let's just grab this fill tool. There we go. We've got all new zoning over there. Some death happening throughout the city, but from a medical standpoint, I think we might be a little bit better positioned. Oh, the game just crashed again. Okay, let me get this reloaded. 4th time's the charm. So now we've got all this built out. We're dealing with some of this death. I wanted to finish. I know what we were doing. We were about to look through our clinics and figure out where everything should be operating. So this clinic here is operating in these neighborhoods. Let's take this new clinic here, have this operate in Valentine. Doesn't have any residents, but we can do Melville, we could do Bedford, Horsham Flats, Longview, and Wilmar. And then this new clinic over here will operate in Elizabeth Crossing, Briarwood Downs, Pinewood Acres, Middle Peak, Dickinson Narrows. And maybe they'll take Willow Terrace as well. And maybe we build one other small clinic over this way for Boulder Hill, Ortega, and Blackwood Corner. I think that would be fine. Let's just do a tiny clinic, nothing crazy. There's not a ton of residents over here to begin with. So we could place this. Honestly, we can maybe sneak it right in here. It's relatively flat. All right, Boulder Hill, Blackwood Corner, and Ortega. And honestly, this can also function here as well, just because it's right next door. Now everybody is covered by health care, and we're still waiting on some hearses. Let's let some of that finish. We'll let the hearses do their thing, and then we'll see if that's really a problem or if that was just a reaction to having such poor health care. In the meantime, let's go ahead over here to Ortega, and let's place out a new train station. So what I'm thinking is that we've got this road here. What is this road called? Maple Street. I don't know how I keep forgetting that. It's like our main road. But Maple Street is a main avenue, so I wouldn't want to place the train station right along here. I feel like there's going to be too much traffic. If we look at our land, it is relatively flat here. So what we could consider doing is sending a road maybe straight along this direction. Do we cross over? Oh, see, that's the challenge, is that then we're going to have 2 level crossings back to back. Although I guess that's really not a big deal. Place this road right here. Let it be a level crossing. Totally fine. But then we're going to get a new train station. We were using, I think, the French. This is what we've been using so far. I think we place another French train station over here. Right along Chester Street. Now we do have a bit of a grade difference here. If you notice, those guys are much higher than here. So I think what we can consider doing is beginning to raise this up, starting at this point. Grab a 2-lane track, take it from here, and let's start seeing what happens. There is a grade change here, which is perfect. We would need to go at least 7.5 to get over this road, which I don't think is going to work. So let's do this. Let's delete this road for the moment. We're going to come back to it, don't you worry. But let's get here. We'll do it like this. We'll come from here. If I come straight out to here, it's still -2. At this point, we're at +1. Right here, we're at -0.01. Perfect. Now, since we're turning into this section, I don't think it's too... No, it is too tight of a turn. Maybe the right way to do this is coming this direction. I didn't think it would be, but maybe it is. So let's connect up to here. Let's get this to a place where it's... That just gives us a flat wall. Chester, I guess, can connect to here. Once we get past this point, then we'll be better situated. I do want to have, there we go, an underpass. We'll take this out to this direction. Now the question is, can we get this to connect in a useful way? I don't know if we can. If we go like this, it goes negative 0.3, which isn't ideal. I would like it to be less than negative 0.3. That's part of why we built a raised section. What if we used this back section to raise up to at least, I think, 875. It barely moves up here. And it does allow us to come around and start some type of loop. The question is, do we have to go out and then back in? Or do we think we can finagle a curve here? Maybe what we want to do is starting here, we start curving out. It gives the train a tight turn here, but then it comes up and does a sweeping curve. I do wish this was a bit rounder, and I'm just tempted to use Move It for this instead of actually rebuilding this section. Much better curve. It's pretty much flat. It's just making up for the fact that the ground dips. So the train is staying relatively flat the whole way through. The challenge here is going to be, can we connect this set of train tracks into this set of train tracks without too much fuss? Technically, it could go there. Could go just like this. It may cause backups in the future, but honestly, that is not terrible at all. Okay. I think that's what we got to do. We got to work with the terrain a little bit in this, and I don't want to have these like ugly roads for no reason. This road, I think we send out just a little bit, and because we're kind of hitting a really just a dead end area, we can't really fit. We can fit a road underneath. Would we want to, though? I don't think we do. I think we take this right to here, you curve it in, you send it into connect, you call it a day. Do we extend any of these? No to this one for sure. But maybe instead of extending the alleyway, we add a 2-lane road? Or we just turn this into like a nice little park area. I think that's what we do. We keep this open. Totally fine. Let's then grab our train line. And let's see if we can make this something awesome. We're going to bring this train all the way up to here. And then we're going to have it stop here as well as here on its way back. So now we've added a brand new stop to this section of our track. Also works out okay because this area here is next to our highway. There's not going to have been much development over here anyway. It does kind of give us a natural, I guess, maybe is a strong word, but an ending to this area because we've kind of capped ourselves in. We can definitely build out this section of Denny's Ridge, but what do we do over here? And how do we get over there? Is it possible to make this fit underneath? Anywhere it can. All right, I'm just now messing around. I realized I got so quiet. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change this connection. Spruce Street's going to connect here into Highland Street. There is this somewhat unfortunate double intersection here. And so there are a few things I'm going to want to do to kind of make this not such a terrible area. I can't really limit parking yet, but I could put trees here. Stop any people parking along this side of Maple. Could also put trees here. I do wonder if... I mean, we've got intersection, intersection, crossing. That's not going to work. This intersection here needs to go. So I think we remove these two crossings here. We remove this light. Is this going to stay a light? I think it has to. The train doesn't come frequently enough that it's going to be a problem. And now that gives us another way to connect into the downtown. I do think we may have to redevelop this section of Ivy Street in the future. And now that I say that, I think we might just do that now. What we might end up doing is getting rid of this pathway, remove these trees. I think we need to upgrade Poplar Lane into a full-on road. There's a pathway in the middle. Get rid of that. Upgrade this into a road. It's going to remove one of those businesses. That's okay. Change this to face this direction. get rid of this road here, or this building here. We now have an end to where our taxi depot is. That reduces this intersection significantly. I then also think we continue on this tree journey. Just put a few more trees along here. Do we take it further down this way? I don't know if we do. Actually, yeah, no, I know we do. This is in front of the train area. We put trees all the way along. Let's get rid of this key wall so that our trees can be there. And then we can take this road and send that right on through to connect in. Which eventually, when we come back and do some busing, which I feel like it's maybe not time for an overhaul. We've only had them for a little bit, but we could have some new additions to our bus network, which I think would be valuable. We'll send these through here. This alleyway, just trying to think about all the different pieces here. I think this alleyway needs to not have a light on it, and I think this would not be a crossing area. You can cross at either of these other intersections, but I don't want you to cross there. And luckily, by doing this, we've preserved our ability to continue developing north of this area. All right, so now we've got a train line in here. Let's go ahead and make sure we get some new development over in this area. So first things first, we got to check out the pollution, because there is air pollution up until this point, but this area, there's no air pollution. I was considering this to be a bit more commercial, industrial in nature. So we could place a bunch more office buildings, or we could place a few other types of buildings in here. Now, we do have the EU low density business, and we have the new Japanese low density business. I finally downloaded both of those. I know the Chinese pack came out. I have not even looked at these other packs, so I'm not dealing with that just yet. This area of Ortega is a huge hill, which I think poses its own problem, and we'll have to address that later. But I think in this neighborhood, what we could do is we could definitely come in with some row homes. Maybe here in the center area, if I do a little bit more key walls, we can force this kind of in the places we want. I definitely want everyone kind of facing the interior. I don't want you really building on these side roads if we can help it. So honestly, let's just fill this whole area with some zoning. It's going to mess that up a little bit, which is unfortunate. If I remove it, does it fix it? No. Just tack that onto the back. So that tells me that this needs to be a parking lot then. Boom. There you go. That's what you get for not being willing to cooperate. Now, I know we like these row homes when they're going downhill like this. It disguises any grade change pretty well. So I think all of this is actually going to get filled with some row homes. I didn't realize this is actually across the street from another parking lot. Is there a longer parking lot that could go here that would work, just the same? I don't know if there really is. I mean, we have this one, which if I get rid of that, this one does fit, I think, a little bit nicer because it backs up next to this building. It means we could then come through and, most of the time I'll do these trees and things off camera, but it does mean we can come in and just put down a few trees in this section. I don't know if we could squeeze any in between here. We could do these in here though. All of this will eventually become houses, which is great. We do have a little bit of desire for some more commercial. Let's put some Japanese commercial buildings right along this edge. I am going to limit them though, so they're only going to be that far back, so we can sneak in a little pathway right on through. We'll leave that crosswalk, not going to bother anybody, and that's going to help fill out the rest of this area. Now, Ortega doesn't have many services, and I am considering making one change to these districts in that Alexandria crosses over into what reasonably would be Ortega. So if I remove that, it's going to cause a little bit of an issue for a second. The train line becomes that dividing factor, which I think just makes a bit more sense. Okay, so we've got all this new development. Fantastic. I do want to consider services. So if we just briefly look here, we have a high school, which is operating in all these areas in terms of usage just fine. Here's our elementary school, which is operating in these two neighborhoods, but we don't have one operating over here. So why don't we consider building a small elementary school over here? We've got 373 possible households with a current population of 625. Of this, we've got about 300 uneducated and poorly educated, almost now 400. So let's place a high school that can accommodate that. We have a small elementary school can do 400. The EE elementary school can only do 100. What is this building? EE high school. This we know is way too big. The EE elementary school, 1,500 students. I just want to look at this because this building looks fantastic. You know what? I think we're going to do something here. Similar to what we did over here. We've got these two neighborhoods that we've sunk in a little bit, and we gave them a key wall to surround that outside area and just build these kind of like micro neighborhoods, which I think are maybe one of my favorite things of this build so far. I think we consider doing the same thing here. We've got a landfill. We've got these mines. They're bringing up tons of material. And I think it'd be reasonable to say, all right, dump some of that extra material over here in this area. Let's just see what happens. I know this is going to be like a really, really tall section of land, but just go with me. Keep all this smoothed out. We don't actually want... We don't want it spilling over into the other side of the street. Hold on. Let's go from here to here and just kind of correct that. Then give it a nice pass with the smooth tool. Maybe even smooth out that section. So now we have this like massive area, which at the moment does look crazy. But I think what we could do, I wish it wasn't snowing. I think what we could do is we could smooth out these edges. Maybe we go from here to here and just start trying to... There we go. That's better. That's better. Thank the Lord for an autosave. Now, this might have a... Man, the death wave is getting worse. We're going to have to address that. This might have a strange cliffside, and we may decide that this needs to be upgraded with a key wall. But for now, we've opened up a pretty decent flat area. What I want to do is I do want to try to... smooth a little bit more, I think, right here. Just go ahead and move that back even further. Just like so. Then what we can do is we can take this road, bring it... Do I bring it all the way over? I don't think so. I think for now we bring it to here. Right to here. And I don't know if we bring this one out or not. We could bring this over and curve it into this road. It could be a natural progression of this road here. There we go. So now we've got this extra Empire Street here, still keeping this kind of open grass area, which I'm going to turn into some trees, but we've unlocked this new section for building. And in there we can place, I think, the EE Elementary School. It nearly fits there. So I think we are going to remove Birdsong for the moment. Now, this is a large school. This can hold 1,500 students. And I think why this is going to be valuable for us is we can place this school here. We can assign it to Ortega, Alexandria, and even Boulder Hill, because Boulder Hill only has this high school, elementary school, which is at capacity. Eventually, this all is going to be redeveloped, and so we'll be able to kind of reconnect these neighborhoods in the future. But for now, we've got cheap land up here. We've built out a new high school, looking pretty nice. Do we have the ability to maybe squeeze in some type of athletic facility? I'd like something like on the larger side. That can't fit. This could fit, but it has to go along that road. Out of curiosity, how dreadful does that look? Okay, at the moment it looks fine. When the snow melts, it may look terrible. But at the moment, this looks kind of fun, fantastic. So here, smooth out these roads as much as we can. Right along here, right along here. Clean that up just a little bit. I almost want to remove the key wall from here. It's a bit of a bump in the road. Do we think we can solve that bump? We can. So now we've got this brand new area up here with this school. Autosave. And then I do want to consider having a parking lot in here somehow. It could go right along this road. Although if we look at the contour lines, it is going downhill. I think the parking lot would make more sense kind of across the street. And I would like it to be somewhat of a larger one. This is the moderate parking lot. There is a large parking lot, which may be overkill. But with this area being so flat, and honestly, I see another connection I want to make. I want to send this straight on out to here and straight on in. And then right in here is where that parking lot is going to go. I think we do a large. I think we place it in front of the businesses. And we're a big city. So milestone 11 unlocked. Big city. Congratulations. The city is coming along nicely. An injection of $275,000. We got some more progression points and land permits. Let's go ahead and close out on that. We now have this new parking lot. And I think what we do is we surround this with some more buildings. I wouldn't mind having a regular commercial building right here, as well as some, pause real fast, some commercial buildings right here along this way. If you're going to build here, though, fill out that area. Perfect. Then let me just quickly go in. I'm going to throw down some trees in this area here, as well as behind here, just to disguise this a little bit. So just give me 1 second. The game just crashed again. Okay. We're almost at the end here. Let's go ahead and just power through. Okay, so the game crashed again. So I did a few things that aren't on camera. So after it crashed here, we came back in and I built out a new crematorium, gave it some upgrades, trying to get this death wave under control. And then I also built a second crematorium somewhere. Hold on, where did I put the other one? Oh, over here. So here's the second one along Olive Street. So both of these are now going to start helping with this death wave. It is, I think, getting smaller, although our processing is still not exactly where it needs to be. We're having about 777 deaths a month with 442 handling capacity. Some of this, I think, is just an adjustment. I think once this death wave is over, we may have better control here. I don't want to overbuild, so we're going to just leave those two. I then also went ahead and I increased our sewage output, and I built a brand new groundwater pumping station over here along Broad Street. This is so that we can hopefully have enough water to supply our citizens. We have 2 stations now, both of them are upgraded, and now we're able to produce more than enough water, at least for the current size of our city. This game is probably going to crash again. So what I want to do just to kind of wrap things up, let's review what we were supposed to work on. We built out our incineration plant. Going well. We're producing 23 megawatts of power, and that was at 25 at one point. So it is going up. I did get rid of the 2 dumps that we had. So now those are gone. And we were trying to fill out Ortega, which we have successfully done. It needs some detailing, which I'll do off camera, but Ortega now has 521 available households, with 514 of them filled, and 1,000 residents. Now, this neighborhood is poor. It is on the edge of the city, and it's still brand new with smaller houses. So it's going to take some time for that to have any meaningful upgrade. We also built out a new train station, the Chester Street train station. Currently has 8 passengers waiting. If we jump over to this train, which we haven't ridden in a while, we've got 31 passengers on it, which is fantastic. I'm curious how many we get here going south towards Elizabeth Crossing. Let's see. Anybody get on? Okay, we have 13 passengers now with 2 pets. Let's go ahead and just speed this up. We'll follow along, see what it's like on the other side of the city here. Now you can get from the top of the city all the way down here into our more residential zone, which I do think we're slowly going to need to start increasing the density down here. So Elizabeth Crossing is going to see some changes very soon. And then down here, we were able to drop down to 7 new people, and it's going to start going back on its way. I am curious how many are in this center area by Boulder Hill. So let's just follow this one more stop. Cross over the road here. Cross over that road there. It's so infrequent. I really don't mind some of these level crossings. And now we're at 10. Okay, great. So let's go ahead and just zoom out here, slow down time. Off camera, what I'm going to do in between parts is do a little bit of detailing around this crematorium, fill out this little section of Boulder Hill just to wrap this section up. And then we're also going to go ahead and just check on some of the services in the city. I'll come up with a plan for next time. All right, so I think that's where we're going to leave this part here. When we come back next time, you're going to see some new areas that have some detailing, and I'm going to finish out Boulder Hill. But until then, guys, leave me some thoughts and feedback down below, and I will see you guys in the next one.